Tech Connect is known for one thing, Luke, and that's breaking news, and we have a brand new product that we're covering today.
So Corey, what is the new product?
Huh? I forgot. Welcome back to another Tech Connect. Today we are taking a look at a brand new product from Eschenbach. It's called the Optaro. This thing is less than 2 weeks old at the time of recording.
Yes.
And it is a brand new product from Eschenbach. It is an electronic magnifier, but not what you would expect. This again is using an iPhone. If you saw our last video on the Maggie IVR, that was also using an iPhone, but that was a wearable.
Yes.
This is more of a traditional portable video magnifier. Stick with us. We're going to take a look at this brand new device. Make sure that you like and subscribe, comment, all those great things. Let's get into it. All right, the Optaro has a number of pieces that all come together, kind of like
a transformer? Oh no,
not transformer. What's the other one?
Like the Power Rangers robot being assembled from the various
that one,
pieces.
Or Voltron come what is something assemble?
Oh, Avengers.
Oh, that works too. All right, so Optaro has a bunch of pieces that we need to use in order to have it all come together. Number one, we need an iPhone. It works with any iPhone.
No.
No?
Nope.
What iPhone does it work with?
iPhone 12 and above.
And who told? Are you just making this up?
Nope.
Who told us?
Big Matt from Eschenbach. Yeah.
Big Matt. Yes, thank you, Big Matt. Why are we calling him Big Matt?
Because he has a big personality.
Oh, okay.
He's a nice guy.
Yes, it works with the iPhone 12 and up. Not the SE model. So first of all, gonna have your iPhones. Number two, you need the actual Optaro device itself. This is going to connect to the back of your iPhone. It has a built-in camera and battery, and it is going to provide the image that you need to then show up on your iPhone screen. Number three, forgot count there. You need some kind of case. So there are two options that you can do with the Optaro. Number one, you can get a specific case for your iPhone. So if you've got a 12 Pro, you can get a case that's gonna fit the 12 Pro. If you don't know what phone you have, or maybe you're thinking you're gonna get yourself a new phone in the near future, then you can get the universal case. This will allow you to use any iPhone model 12 or up with the same case, and you can just adjust as needed. The big difference though is that the universal case is not as secure as the case specific for your iPhone model. Now, Matt was telling us that the universal case was good and worked fine, but you just couldn't read upside down.
Yeah, you couldn't turn it upside down because then the phone would fall out.
Which, my question is, how often is Matt reading or doing things upside down?
Well, since he knew that that would happen, I'm guessing quite a lot.
Is that like the first thing he did when he put it in the universal case? Like, I wonder what happens when you turn it upside down.
I will say the universal case utilizes the magnet on the back of the iPhone in order to kind of secure the iPhone in there. But apparently it's not strong enough to take the weight when held upside down.
It's actually quite a clever design.
It's very clever.
It is, but learn from Matt's mistakes. Don't tip your phone upside down if you're using the universal case. The last piece that we need is some kind of way to charge it. Eschenbach does sell separately a charging block that has two USB ports. The reason you want two ports is that then you're able to charge your Optaro via USB-C and your iPhone at the same time, just using that single block. If you don't want to purchase a double block from Eschenbach and you prefer to use your own, you can do so. Amazon or any other place is going to sell those, no problem. So not like you have to use Eschenbach specifically. All right, stick with us. We are going to go over putting the phone into the case and actually doing a demo of the Optaro device. Stick with us. Let's see what it can do.
Okay, so the first thing we need to do is put the Optaro together, and the Optaro consists of basically two different parts. We have the base, which is the Optaro itself, and that's what has the camera and the electronics in it. But then we also have the rubber adapters that are used for putting the phone in. Now I have two here. I have a rubber adapter for the iPhone 12, but that's not the phone we're going to be using, Corey. We're going to be using your phone.
Yes.
which is which type of iPhone do you have, Corey?
I have the 15 Pro.
Okay, now since we don't have the specific case for the 15 Pro, we are going to be using the universal case instead. And this actually comes in two parts. There is a plastic part with a magnetic bit on it, and then there is the rubber part. And we have to put these together with the Optaro, Corey. Now, this is only my second time of ever doing this.
Okay.
The first time didn't go great, I'm going to be honest with you. So we'll see.
That's why we're using a different phone. Sorry, Matt. We broke it. No, I'm just kidding.
So let's see if we can get this together. So I'm going to go ahead and try and figure out how to put these together. Now I know that the Optaro camera obviously has to be poking out because it needs to see what's going on. Okay, I think I got this the wrong way around. So we're going to try the other way. And we'll see if we can get this together.
I'm sure there's a joke here. How many AT?
Yeah, exactly. Does it take to put together an Optaro?
Yeah.
What did Matt say to us, Corey, about the rubber on the case here? He said something specific about it still being like...
Oh, he said it was crusty.
Crusty, yes, thank you. A little bit crusty when you first get it, so you have to kind of put a bit of force into it. Corey, I believe I may have gotten the rubber on. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that this is perfect. You know, I feel like there's room for improvement, but it may be sufficient to work.
When you say room for improvement, you don't mean from Eschenbach, you mean from yourself.
Yeah, from myself.
Okay,
like, I'm not 100% sure how to get this on correctly, but I think I've done a decent job.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So the next part, we're going to put in the universal clamp part, and this the circular area, which is white, is the magnetic part. Okay. And now we need to kind of slide this into the rubber as well. Corey, it's definitely a little on the crusty side. I'm going to tell you that right now.
He said, put some oomph behind it.
He did.
There you go. I heard a good
trying.
click. Yeah,
okay, clicking is a good sign. Hey, I believe I've assembled it. Now mine does not look as good as when Matt did it. I'm going to be honest with you, Corey.
Now we were using I think Matt put it in, did he have it in the universal case? Yeah, maybe he did.
He tried both. He showed us both. Okay.
He had a little bit more practice than you did.
He had a little bit more practice. Yeah. So I got, let's say, Corey, I got about 80% of the way there on my second try. Okay. So it might just take a few tries to really get it down. Now, of course, you might not actually need to do this. The only reason we're doing it is because we are putting on the universal. But, you know, if you own one, you're probably just going to leave yours assembled all the time. So it's not like you're constantly disassembling and assembling this. Yeah. Now, at this point, Corey, we should be able to put the phone onto the universal base. And this is our Optaro ready to go.
Before we get into the demo part, this is my phone. Yeah. Please do not turn it upside down because this is a universal case.
Okay, well, here we go. Let's try it. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now that we have put the Optaro together, it's time to put it through its paces. And in order to do so, we have brought in a special magazine from Corey's collection here. This is from Corey's People collection. That's his favorite magazine. And this is from the October 17th, 2022 issue. Corey, why is it that this is one of your personal favorite issues?
This actually ranks number 6 of my favorites. I mean, I wasn't going to bring you in the top 5.
No, obviously.
Crazy. But this really highlights the relationship between Brad Pitt and Emily Ratajkowski.
Yes.
And so I really thought that our viewers would enjoy this exact issue.
I agree with you. Is that relationship still going on 2 years later, Corey? What's the situation with that?
Yeah, they're called Bremily.
They're called Bremily?
Yeah, when you Brad and Emily together, and it's Bremily.
Like Semolina?
Or it's Emerald.
I can confirm I don't know any of this, so I'm going to trust you.
I don't think they ever were together, but
okay,
let's continue.
Anyway, it's good to use a glossy magazine in testing because electronic magnifiers can find those difficult because of the shininess of the pages. And I'm glad to report the Optaro is doing a very nice job. Now we have 8 buttons on the screen at the moment. We are in the advanced mode, Corey, because we are advanced technology specialists after all. And in the advanced mode, we get all of the different buttons. So that gives us 8 in total, 4 to the left and 4 to the right. Corey, let's run through those buttons and find out what they do, okay? So top left, we have settings. That will obviously allow us to go into our, Corey?
Settings.
Very good. And in there's going to be various things that we can change to. So, that would have made sense. We'll dive into that in the next section. Let's not get caught up on that right now. The next button down, Corey, is our color mode button. And we only have a few colors engaged at the moment. There are, how many to choose from, Corey?
14 total.
Thank you. Yeah, 14 total, but we only have a couple engaged at the moment, but we will see how to go into the settings and change that. Let's see what we've got right now. We have regular color. I'm going to go ahead and look. Oh, we're actually in black and white at the moment, Corey. So here's Emily in black and white. Let's go ahead and hit the color mode button. I'm going to hit it a few times. Okay, so here she is in her regular color. And we'll go look at Brad as well, because, you know, it's only fair. So there's Brad. Now we're going to go ahead and change some of these colors. So I'll hit the color button, and we have high contrast black on white, Corey. And yes, it is nice and high contrast, nice dark blacks and whites. I'll hit it again, and now we have the reverse whites on blacks, colors that are very common. These are probably the default colors, I'm guessing, Corey, because they are the most common ones.
Yeah, I was going to say those are the ones that most people use.
Exactly.
And I have to assume that the quality is probably pretty good. It is a 1080p camera.
It is, yeah, and we're obviously using the high resolution camera phone screen as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say on the iPhone, especially the Pro.
Oh yeah.
As you know, that combination's got to give you pretty good results.
Yeah, it is a very nice image. I will say though, maybe the screen of the iPhone is a little glary. And so that would be one thing to bear in mind. You know, these touch screens, they tend to be a little bit glary. And here, underneath the studio lights, we're definitely getting some glare on the screen. Sure. Whereas with a lot of other electronic magnifiers, that wouldn't be so much of an issue. So something to bear in mind. The next button down on the left side is our camera button, and we could go ahead and take a picture. Now, we have to allow the app access to the Photos app, Corey.
Yeah.
So the Optaro app has to have access to the Photos app if we want to save photos. So I'm going to go ahead and allow access here, and that will allow me to save my pictures. And so I've just got a frozen image on the screen. Now we can zoom in on that image and do whatever we want with it. We can also go ahead and save the image to the photo gallery, and then there is a specific button that will allow us to open the photo gallery and review saved pictures if we want to. I'm not going to do that right now, so we'll go ahead and flip back out of here. And now we're back to our regular camera. There were some actually interesting buttons in there as well, Corey, for sharing our photos. And so we could snap a pic with our Optaro app and then go ahead and share those. And you can share in the usual ways via things like AirDrop or text messages or email, all of those different ways that we normally would. Next down on the left side, we have a green button with a speech bubble in it. Corey, any ideas what that might be for?
I believe he called that the Tell Me button.
Ah, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, when we tap that, it will, I don't want to use the word OCR, although that is basically what it's doing, but it's only going to speak out loud or perform OCR on whatever text is currently within the kind of the box.
It's not even that. It's actually just within the center.
Just whatever's on.
Yeah.
Not even on. Is it on the screen itself or just the center of the screen?
Yeah, just the center. It seems to be. Well, let's give it a try. So at the moment in the center, I have In Hollywood Star. Now, actually, Corey, I should mention if we tap the screen in the middle, the controls will disappear, and then we'll get the full screen.
Okay.
So that's what I've done at the moment here, and it says In Hollywood Star 58. Okay, in the middle. Let's see if that's what's red when I hit the green button.
Hollywood Star 58.
Yeah, it didn't say the in, but it said Hollywood Star 58. So it's literally just the words in the center of the screen. Very limited area. Sure. But if you just need, let's say that you're reading, and oftentimes, Corey, we find that people, when they're reading, they tend to kind of put the words together. They don't necessarily see the whole word, but they use their knowledge of vocabulary to infer what the word is. However, it's easy to make mistakes when doing that. Yeah. And so if you're ever not sure about a word, this is a nice way just to have that word read aloud to you, and then you can confirm that you are correct or not.
And I have to assume, being a product that's 2 weeks, released, and this is probably really the first stage of what OCR could look like.
Yes,
on
that's
it.
very true. Yeah.
But that's kind of cool to be able to just kind of tap and get a quick verbalization.
It's very fast as well, and we found it to be very accurate too. Okay, so let's see what else we've got. On the right side, we have magnification control. We have a plus. We also have a minus button as well, and the minus button will allow us to zoom out again. Now, Corey, we can, if we tap the screen, the controls will disappear, and we can use pinch and reverse pinch instead if we want. And so that's pretty convenient if you're in the full screen view, so the controls aren't up and you want to zoom in and out. Yeah. It's nice to be able to use pinch and reverse pinch.
Which makes sense, because most of the time, once you sort of have your color contrast and things set, you're not probably aren't going to need those buttons.
Exactly.
And so being able to still pinch makes, and I think at this point, I believe that's the only gesture available.
Yes, that's the only one that we were told about, and whether there are others in the pipeline, we're not entirely sure. Let's bring the controls up again. There is a control here, Corey, and you're going to have to help me out, because I know that I asked Matt about this, and it was some kind of picture-in-picture thing, but I forget exactly what the details were.
I believe he said it's similar to a feature they have on their other devices now.
It's a find feature.
Where if you're at a 3, and you tap it, it'll zoom into a 5 or out to whatever, and it kind of,
Yeah, so it will basically, let's say that you're zoomed into 5x and the minimum is 2x. Then if you hit the button, it will zoom you back to the 2x. Hit it again, it'll zoom you back up to the 5x.
Exactly.
So, pretty nice feature to have that. And then finally at the bottom, we have a red line in a brownish box. Corey, what would that one do you think?
That might be the reading lines
Yeah,
and
very good.
shades, maybe, or blinders, whatever you want to call them.
Yep, so if we hit that at the moment, we have our horizontal red line, and you can actually change the thickness of that line, the position of that line, and whether it's horizontal and vertical, and also between lines and windowing in the settings, which we'll get into the next
and
section.
change the color, red, black, or gray, too.
Yeah,
And so
three
we
colors
will
to
show
choose
that.
from. So I think that's really all of the basic features. It's got everything you would expect from a handheld electronic magnifier, just kind of utilizing the iPhone to do those things instead.
Its max magnification is 15 times.
Yep.
I'm curious if you could do a little, how does it look at a kind of higher magnification? What's the quality look like?
That's a good question, yeah.
How much are we really getting on the screen, because we are, and we'll talk about this in the wrap up too, but that is one limitation. The iPhone screen is only so big. So
I'm
for
just
sure. Curious how much to expect.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the magazine font is 11 point. That's only a guess.
Yeah, sure.
It looks like it might be around 11 point though. The maximum magnification, I fit one word, one 6-letter, or is it 5? No, 6-letter word on the screen.
Okay.
The word is people, in case you were wondering. And the image looks good, but there is a little bit of artifacts going on.
Okay.
I will mention that. So yeah, it's nothing that would prevent you from being able to read like this.
Okay.
Not at all, but you can see a little bit of artifacting kind of going on here.
And what color contrast mode are you currently?
Currently white on black. If we switch through to, let's see, the regular color mode. And yeah, so that one actually doesn't look as good. Still get some artifacting going on there. Let's take a look at Emily up close here. Wow, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Okay, there's a wedding ring. Yeah, and it looks very pixelated, but that's actually the magazine print itself.
That makes sense.
And this is the thing, like this is going to depend on the quality of the print that you're looking at too. It should be borne in mind. And if we do the high contrast of black text on a white background, that one looks really nice actually. Yeah. So again, maybe a little bit of artifacting and ghosting. We were told this was 60 frames per second refresh rate, and it does seem pretty smooth as we're moving along. There's a tiny bit of ghosting going on, but it's pretty minimal. So I would say this is it's got decent optics and it's pretty easy to use, provided, Corey, you are able to see those buttons on the screen, although they are accessible with VoiceOver. However, if you are using VoiceOver, you're probably not going to be using this particular product. Even if you can use magnification, I think the screen on this might be a little bit too small.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, well, with that being said, let's jump into the settings menu and let's see what additional features this app offers for us. So the last thing we need to do is take a look at the settings and what additional options they offer us, Corey. Now, when we hit the settings button, the phone at the moment is in landscape, as you would imagine, because that's the best way to use it as an electronic magnifier. But once we hit the settings button, it is going to go into portrait. Now, we can, the Optaro has its own stand to tilt the phone toward you. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and push that stand down and rotate the phone so I can see the screen a little bit better. So let's take a look at, I don't want to look at all of these, Corey, but we'll take a look at some of the main features in the settings. And the first one we have is operating mode. I did mention before, we had been in the advanced operating mode. If we switch that into the simple, then that will actually reduce the buttons to only 4 in total, so 2 on either side. And those buttons are the settings menu button, the color button, plus and the minus buttons. Okay. So if you have somebody who is less confident with their technology, then that might be the mode that they should be using. We also can set the maximum zoom level. So if you don't want to be able to zoom up to 15 times, maybe you don't want somebody, again, accidentally zooming up too far, getting confused, then you can actually limit the maximum zoom level. So pretty nice feature there. We also have some options for the lighting. So this device does have its own lighting on the back, as you would expect, and you can adjust how bright that is. There are 3 intensity levels. We have lighting off, then we have a medium lighting, and then we have a bright lighting. Now, Matt did recommend, Corey, that we used which lighting mode?
He said to start at bright, and then if it's too much, we can always bring it back, but start with bright.
I think that's decent advice. Now, we were actually on medium, Corey, because that's the default, and we hadn't changed it, but actually that worked very well for the magazine here.
Yeah.
And so if you are looking at something glossy, then maybe something in the medium range might be a little better for that. The next option we have, which is interesting, is the false colors option, and that will allow us to choose which false colors are available when we press the false color button. Again, Corey, how many in total are there?
14.
Very nice, 14 in total. We only have black, white, and white, black at the moment. Those are the default ones, but some other ones we could choose from: black, yellow, yellow, black, blue, yellow, yellow, blue, black, purple, purple, black, red, white, white, red, black, green, green, black, black, orange, orange, black.
That was pretty good, actually.
Thank you, yeah. Did you want to repeat?
Faster,
Did
go.
you want... Did you want to repeat those for us, Corey?
Yes. 14.
So there's plenty to choose from, and of course, if you enable any of those, they're going to be available when you switch through the colors using the color button. We also have an update firmware, so this is pretty cool. This being a an iPhone, it obviously can connect to the internet, and so we can download firmware updates. I believe the firmware at the moment is 1.0.0, so it is like the very initial release. But as they update it and maybe possibly add features, who knows, then you will be able to update those right through the settings here. And we can also reset to factory settings. So if you have messed around with things and now it's just not what it used to be, and you're not sure why, you can reset to factory settings and get yourself out of trouble. So all of the stuff that you would expect, I think, really, Corey. Yeah, it's got everything that you need in there to customize it for you, and pretty simple to use as long as you have the vision to get into the settings and mess about with this stuff. Or alternatively, you could ask somebody else to help you get it set up. But I think the default settings are pretty well chosen, Corey.
Yeah.
So you can pretty much just take it out of the box, and you don't have to worry about any of this stuff necessarily. All right, well, should we wrap it up?
We should.
All right, let's do it. Time to wrap. Just a quick insert, because I forgot to mention one of the settings which could be important, and that is the option to change the reading line and the windowing settings. Now, the reason that I missed this is because in the menu it's labeled reading support settings, which doesn't, to me, scream reading line. Is it me?
Well, I mean, 50% of the words is in the menu option. No, I get what you're saying. I probably wouldn't have guessed that either.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense though, because reading line and windowing are two things,
Sure.
and maybe they couldn't fit reading line / windowing, and so they just went reading support. Anyway, doesn't matter, does it? Let's go into the settings and find out what they do. So I'm in the reading support settings, and now actually I have to turn the phone into the landscape view again, because it's showing us this menu in the landscape view. I'm going to go ahead and pop open my stand so I can see the screen more clearly. And in the reading support settings, we have 6 different buttons. The first ones are arrows, which allow us to adjust the positioning of the line. So if it's in the horizontal position, then we can move it up and down the screen. If it's vertical, we can move it left and right, and the same with the windowing as well. The next button, the third one, will go ahead and put us into the windowing mode. And so I can, again, use those arrows to adjust the thickness of those windows. And in the windowing mode, we actually have different buttons now. So as well as the arrows, we have a button that will switch us back to the line mode. And there's also a button that will rotate the windows so they are vertical. Corey, for those who don't know about lines and windowing, what's the point?
Well, basically, if you want to block off things if you only want to focus in specifically on the line you're reading or a column you're reading, the windowing and line will allow you to block out some of that other information on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. So it just helps keep you focused, which people can kind of lose track of the sentence as they're reading when things are magnified. And so this is a way to keep on track. You've either got the windowing, which cuts off part of the screen, and then you've got the line, which is literally just a line across the screen. If you're reading standard text, you might want that to be horizontal, but if you're reading columns, you might want it to be vertical. And so that's the idea here. Let me go back into the support settings here. We also have the option to change the thickness of the reading line. And so there are 3 thicknesses going from thin to medium to thick. And then finally, we have the color palette. Corey had mentioned this before. We can change the color of our reading line in between red, black, and gray. So there you go. If you are a reading line fan, then there's plenty of reading line options here, more than most devices, I would say.
Yeah, more than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye. So with that being said, now it is actually time to wrap up. Let's do it.
All right, we have covered the device pretty in depth. We know how to use it. We know how it works. What do we think about it? I think it's a cool idea that it's utilizing a device you might already have in your pocket, your iPhone. The iPhone obviously has a good screen, which is cool. But I do think there are some limitations to it. One of the limitations that we haven't yet talked about, though, is price. Yeah. So what is it currently retail pricing?
Okay, so if you get it with the iPhone case for your specific phone, then you're looking at $714.95. If you get it with the universal stand, which is what we had been using here, $732.50. And then you can buy additional cases. So if you change phones, you can get a different case for $20. You can get just the universal stand on its own for $37.50, and the charging head is $19.95.
Sure.
So basically, like, you know, for most people, probably $715, but then you've got to buy the charging head, or if you don't have a charging head already.
Yeah. And you obviously have to have the phone already.
Obviously.
So you may or may not want to include that price altogether. But I do think, you know, if we compare that, let's talk about a Ruby. That's probably size-wise, screen size-wise similar.
Well,
right?
Here's one of the weird things, Corey. The iPhone screen is very long and fairly thin.
That is true.
So it's a very different shape to the Ruby, even if screen size is ultimately the same. That doesn't really tell you.
You're right.
Everything.
It's the iPhone is like what, 6 inches but widescreen, where the Ruby might be 6, but it's more square.
Taller.
Yeah. So you're right. That's not. I guess that's not a true comparison, but I would say from a portable standpoint, it's one of your closer.
Oh yeah, price-wise, definitely.
And it's what, $835?
Well, I think the Ruby XL HD might be $895, and I'm not sure if they still sell. Yeah, I'm not sure what the regular Ruby price is, but I think the point is you're in the same ballpark as actually buying a regular electronic magnifier. And so the question is, does this offer any benefits over buying a regular electronic magnifier? Now, I think, Corey, the most appealing potential for this was price, because potentially it should have been way cheaper, and that could have been really appealing because you're using your own phone in order to make it operate. But actually it hasn't come in that much cheaper than a regular handheld electronic magnifier. And so are there any other benefits that this offers that those don't? Or what do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, today maybe not, but I do think that you potentially are open to more possibilities for firmware updates and adding features because it's app-based.
Yeah.
So I think that in the long run, the Optaro probably has more opportunity to add new features and improve it more than you would see on a traditional portable. The other thing they talked about too is that they are potentially working on an Optaro that will be specific to iPads, really kind of going after the school population. Although, to be honest, I think that's a key market, but I think working age and seniors would benefit too, because now you're talking about an iPad mini that's like a 7.9 inch screen, or even all the way up to like an iPad Pro that you talked about, you know, you're almost 13 inches at that point. That's a whole different, ball game at that point, because it's much easier to read, I think.
Yeah, I think I find the iPhone, I worry that the regular iPhone screen is a little small for this type of application, but the iPad could definitely be really cool. I think the Optaro does have some benefits, like it does simple OCR, should we say? Yeah. It's not reading, a whole document, but it does kind of allow you to read out a word or a few words very quickly. So again, you can get confirmation of things that you're reading. It also has the ability to do things like take pictures and just share them, So there is some things it has going on. Another thing might be that because you're using your iPhone, maybe you prefer to do that than using a dedicated low vision device, So that could be something to bear in mind. But ultimately, I would like to see this device come in cheaper, because I think it would make a lot more sense than at the price point it is. It's kind of battling against the thought of just getting a regular handheld electronic magnifier instead. So yeah, I don't know. I guess ultimately, Corey, it's up to the individual.
It is, and I applaud Eschenbach for trying something new. I always think it's cool when a company releases a product that's not yet there, that there's nothing like it on the market.
For sure.
And maybe Gen 1 isn't the home run they want it to be, and maybe it will be. Who knows until it really hits the market. But I love that they tried something new. Throw it down in the comments. Let us know what you think of this device. How do you think it might compare to your traditional portable video magnifier, or if it's something that you think you would dive into and want to use? Put that down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're always releasing breaking assistive technology products.
Heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
We literally did, though, the Maggie.
Yes.
And now the Optaro.
Back to back.
I know, wow.
Yeah, we are just changing the whole landscape of assistive technology.
Not sure about that. So if you want to find out more about things that we do, well, we have a few things going on. We have a learning management system. You can go there to check out webinars, and those are kind of produced webinars where you can earn on-demand ACVREP credits, and they cover various topics. We're about to do one on artificial intelligence, so that should be fun.
Yep.
And in order to get to that, Corey, you can go to...
Head over to techconnect.vision-forward.org. techconnect.vision-forward.org. Set up a free account, and right on the homepage, you'll actually see a link to a survey that we are asking people to quickly complete. We are in the midst of designing a screen reader course really geared towards teachers and trainers to make it really easy for you to learn how to use a screen reader, and more importantly, how you can train your students or clients on that screen reader in the very little bit and limited time that you have in your professional and personal life.
Exactly. Yeah. So do check that out. And we also have a podcast, which is basically an audio version of our live show. Go to your favorite podcatcher and look for Vision Forward Tech Connect. And talking of the live show, Corey, we have a live show as well. That will be every other Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And yes, I'm not sure what the next topic will be, but it will be something exciting, no doubt.
Always. We don't even have to give you a topic, because all we have to say is that it is what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
It's always exciting.
So again, 11 a.m. Central, you can find that on the homepage of our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Vision Forward Tech Connect. Corey, my stomach is rumbling. I think it's time to get out of here and eat some lunch. What do you say?
I could not disagree with you.
Okay, that sounds like a double negative. So, okay, he agrees with me. Time to get out of here. See you later.